Howdy folks, I'm Meet the Name, and today I'm giving some thoughts on the new Captain America Brave New World trailer. To start, I need to mention I'm not a huge Marvel expert, so some of my observations may seem to be a bit off, but I'll still try my best given what limited knowledge I already have. Now, I haven't seen The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think that's what that show was called that Disney Plus had. But I'm pretty sure probably for this film, it's going to be required viewing. So sometime today, I'll probably get around to watching it. So let's start with my thoughts on the general story. So far, there isn't a lot to go off of. We know that Harrison Ford's character, William Stryker, I think, has just become the President of the United States and seems to be in talks with Anthony Mackie's character about making Captain America an official position in the US military. And the two characters seem to have some ideological differences that may make cooperation very difficult. And then after that, we see some sort of attack at a press conference, possibly by a sleeper agent. Then there seems to be a lot of explosions, car bombings or something, a lot of terrorism, most likely caused by Giancarlo Esposito's character. We see a lot of what appears to be secret facilities. We see an aircraft carrier. We see a funeral. There's just a lot of set pieces going on in the trailer to sort of give us a feel for the sort of vibe that the film is going with. And it's definitely seeming like a sort of action spy thriller. It seems like they're going back to their roots of Winter Soldier. I haven't seen that in years, so I remember that one was also a bit grounded. Well, I say grounded on a giant aircraft carrier, but you know what I mean. It seemed more thriller, like a, almost like a James Bond a little bit. And a big thing that seems to be involved in this film appears to be Japan. At least given by what appear to be cherry blossom trees. And I think I've seen some people on the internet say that the fighter planes in this are like Japanese F-35s. I know absolutely nothing about military aircraft, so take that with a grain of salt. And then of course there's the red elephant in the room, the Red Hulk. As it's apparent, we're definitely going to see Captain America fight him. But I kind of wish they would have just kept the Red Hulk a secret for those who go and see the film. But then again, I guess McDonald's already spoiled the character. Speaking of which, I think the casting so far looks pretty good in this film. It seems really realistic that we have Harrison Ford playing a geriatric president. And jokes aside, he seems pretty good at the role so far. Most likely he was just happy to have the paycheck as usual. It was also nice to see Anthony Mackie return, and, it's also really nice to see that he's getting his own film finally. Unfortunately, I can't remember much of him from any of the Marvel films, but I will say I've seen him in Twisted Metal, and I really enjoy Twisted Metal, so I'm pretty interested in seeing him in this film. And then we have Giancarlo Esposito's character, who doesn't really do much in the trailer except look cool, which isn't hard because that dude is just naturally cool. I know he's a rather recent addition to the film, so I'm curious how they're going to incorporate him into something that's already been worked on for so long. I think that's probably my biggest concern so far, is that this film has already had multiple reshoots and stuff, and it's been worked on for so long, it gets kind of worrying because eventually, if you work on something for too long, feature creep starts to show up. And it may not be as polished as one would hope in some areas. So far, the sets seem decent in the film. I don't have any complaints about those. The effects are your standard Marvel CGI, but it actually does look better than most Marvel films. I mean, you look at like Love and Thunder, then you're gonna have a bad time. Although I will say, I think the Red Hulk needs some extra time to bake in the oven. He seemed a bit Play-Doh looking a little bit. Definitely could use some more detail and more time to sort of rough out the finer details. But luckily, this film ain't coming out until February of next year, so they have plenty of time to work on the CGI. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this is still a rough cut of the film itself, which means that any sort of criticisms I might have regarding visuals could easily be rectified in the upcoming months. Finally, the music we've been given so far is a decent soundtrack. Or, I say soundtrack, it's a single song. It's doing a pretty good job of setting up this thriller sort of tone for the film. Really lures you into like this expectation that there's going to be a lot of subterfuge. I think that's how you say it. So I'm really curious to see how the soundtrack is going to go. Hopefully it's going to be a bop, as the kids say. But overall, for an initial impression, I gotta say that Captain America Brave New World seems like it's going in a pretty good direction. It's definitely different than a lot of recent Marvel releases, at least in terms of what the trailer has shown us. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm also excited for Deadpool and Wolverine, but it's nice to have films like this that have more of these subtler stakes that are happening that I'm very excited for. Although, again, really wish they would have kept the Red Hulk a secret, and I'm also a bit wary of the Red Hulk as he seems almost, I want to say, too comic booky for the film. But we'll have to see. Hopefully they've been working on this for so long that they know what they're doing, and they didn't just shove a bunch of ideas into the film that haphazardly fit together like a toddler's jigsaw puzzle. With all that said, I have a few channel announcements to make before I close the video off. I apologize for being gone for so long. There just haven't been a lot of movies that have got my interest recently. But hopefully with July here now starting up, there's going to be a lot of stuff in the theaters that I am very interested in seeing. Among recent releases are two. One is Longlegs, which seems like a very interesting horror film. I am genuinely interested in it. It's had a whole bunch of ARG stuff going on that makes it seem almost Blair Witch-like, which gets my excitement up even further. And the second film, now I think about it, has not actually come out yet, but it will soon. It's obviously Deadpool and Wolverine, the only film this summer that really feels like an event. I've been trying to keep my expectations in check, that way I don't go in and automatically disappoint myself if it doesn't meet every single criteria I have established in my mind. But yeah, those are both films I'm very excited for alongside Brave New World. Probably expect some videos, or a video, on at least one of them. Hopefully I can do both, it just depends if I have the time. Speaking of videos, I've started up a new gaming channel. So far it's only got one video and that's on Yume Nikki Dream Diary, but I'm hoping in the upcoming weeks to have more videos uploaded. My computer isn't very powerful, so I can't do any sort of crazy, very detailed games, so expect things to be more sprite-based or visual novel-based, just for the time being until I get things sorted out. Which means, if you have any sort of video game recommendations, feel free to leave them down in the comments below, and I might just make a Let's Play video on them. And again, if you have any movie or TV show ideas that you think I might like, also leave a comment down below. And if you could, please like this video, as every single bit of engagement does help. Of course, only like it if you actually like the video. If you didn't, I understand completely. And if you like the channel, and you haven't subscribed, please feel free to subscribe. That also helps me out as well. With all that said, I hope you all have a wonderful day.